We need workers. We need great workers. And this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, do you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land, train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year.
As US President Donald Trump's $100,000 fee for H1B visa applicants sent shockwaves around the world, we have with us one such H1B visa holder, Amrutha, to discuss her experience and her ordeal on returning from India just hours after US President Donald Trump made that shocking announcement. My first question to you is, of course, what was your first reaction after US President made that shocking announcement that essentially increased the H1B visa fee for holders as well as applicants almost 8 times to $100,000? What was your reaction given the fact that you were in India at the time?
Yes. So the thing is, I got that information from a friend, and then also my manager pinged me that day, which was on Friday morning. I'm talking about India timing, okay? Friday morning around 5, 6 o'clock. I started getting messages from my friends and other WhatsApp groups, and my manager also pinged me with an article asking if I am affected, because he is aware that I am on PTO, I'm on my paid time leave, and then my return flight is on 27th and everything. So first thing that I got to, like, I have everything. Like, I have my valid I-797, which is until 2028. I have my visa, which is again valid until 2028. I have an approved I-140. I was under an impression, like, why am I not allowed? Like, why will I not be allowed to United States? That was my very first question that I had. So for a couple of hours, I was thinking, like, I have all the documents in hand. So let me wait until my actual travel date, which is on 27th. But then when I started seeing messages pouring out in the WhatsApp groups, um, then I went into some panic, some panic thing where I tried reaching out to a couple of attorneys, and then they were like, "Yeah, with your situation, you might be impacted, but you might not be impacted." So nobody was like, because that happened according to US timing. It was all Friday evening, and then not there was not room of place where they could go read actually the proclamation and everything. So they were like, if you have chance to come back, come back. But then that was also like, even if I start like on Friday evening, which was the earliest flight that I could get, I'm coming back to US on September 21st evening. That was the latest flight that I could get. But again, when I informed that to the attorneys, they said, if you're coming in the evening, then the clock already starts at 12 o'clock, and then they would debar you. I mean, they would, detain you. They would put you back into the return flight, send you back. So these were like couple of things, and some officers were like, "You have all the papers in hand. Only thing that they would ask is that 100,000 K check or 100,000 K payment receipt or kind of confirmation from your employer that they would pay." So with all of this, I was like, let me just give it a try, because I didn't want to sit there and then think later that, no, maybe if would have given a try, I might clear through. I might have gone through. So that was my move, Ratan. That's it. Only thing was like, let me give it a try. Worst thing that could happen is the one that they were already saying. So if nothing happens, then I'm in safe place.
Now that you're back in the US, what is the mood among other H1B visa holders? Do you see that there's a sense of heightened anxiety given the uncertainty around the rules and the conflicting informations regarding who this fee applies to? And how long, for instance, do you have your H1B visa?
So I have until August 2028.
So, what happens after 2028?
So after that, yeah, according to what I heard earlier, was after that, if I have to, I mean, obviously I will have to apply for an extension. My employer has to pay government the 100,000 K dollars, is what I was thinking about. And then couple of people were like I have friends who are in full time, also in contracting, who do not get that amount of pay. Like I have friends who are paid less than $100,000. So now that if they are not even getting paid of $100,000, how would an employer pay per person? And initially they were saying like per person per year, if you have to sponsor for H1, you have to pay $100,000. That was a huge amount. That was a huge amount. And yeah, there was very so much confusion with all my friends and other fellow colleagues that I know of. And then everybody were literally like scared that no, this is the end of H1B program, and then they will have to seek alternatives.
Given the situation where US president made that shocking announcement, which was so unexpected for many, even those in the US, how much did you have to spend to return from India back to Dallas? Given at the time, because of the chaos, even flight prices were increasing quite drastically.
Yes. I had to pay around if I talk about in Indian rupees, I had to pay around 1,65,000 just for the one-way trip, which was around $2,000. Whereas my original trip, if you see, mine was around $900 was my round trip. So it was hard, but luckily and one more problem is I do not stay in these metropole cities where where airports are very closely accessible. Like the nearest airport for my hometown is like 4 to 5 hours. So any decision that I make, I will have to make plus 4 hours ahead of what people do when they are staying in Hyderabad or other cities like Bangalore, Chennai, where airport is just like 1 hour or like maybe 1.5 hour. So that was one really hard thing for me. And then yeah.
Certain experts believe that this $100,000 fee only applies to those who are applying for the H1B visa for the first time, that is, new applicants, and not those such as yourself who will extend their visa. Is that what you're also hearing?
When I was in the plane, I got to know that okay, there is some clearance happening. It is not for the existing H1s who already have a valid visa, who already have a valid I-797. They do not have to pay. So I am thinking in another 1 week or so, there would be one more amendment to the proclamation telling that people who are already on H1 do not have to pay, or if they are already in US, they do not have to pay. Anybody who is coming freshly on H1 to US, they will have to pay, or court the attorneys or no the concerned people can question the court, and then things could go in favor of them. Because for any individual, paying 100,000 K dollars is, even if it is a one time thing, it is still a huge amount. There is a lot of, like as I was telling, like Friday morning according to India timings, when you see, I heard totally different statements. While I was in the plane, I heard different statements, and then while I was off the plane in Doha, I was also checking like other WhatsApp groups and everything, and then they were like already people who were lucky enough to come back to US within the timeline or right on the timeline, and they said that no, they didn't have any issues with the immigration, or they were just random questions, normal questions that they had. So informations or statements did change from the time that I got to know the information, and from the time that I finished my immigration as well, which was yesterday evening in Dallas around 4 o'clock.
Amid these uncertainties and these constantly changing rules, for not just the H1B visa, but overall the American immigration policy. Do you still want to stay in the US, or are you looking at or thinking about coming back to India given this uncertainty and this kind of a situation in the US?
I mean, as of now, today, if you say yes, I would say I will hold on, because that's the reason I rushed down to come back to US. Because if I didn't have the thought of holding on or holding in to US, I would have stayed in India until 27th and then see what happens. And then I would take it a little slow, because I've already set up my whole life over here, Ratan. I have a full-time job, I have my own house, I have everything set up over here, and I don't want to throw out or lose out anything that I've already hard earned all in this all 13 years of my US life. So that's the reason I did travel panic. I mean, it was a panic travel that I did, but then yeah, as of now, as of today, if you say, I'm still like holding on to it, thinking that no, all of these proclamations are said, but no confirmations that these proclamations will stay. Like, if you see other cases, I mean, I don't want to point at the other cases, but last few months back, there was this one executive order telling that Trump is going to remove the birthright citizenship. Um, Again, within few days, they just came back. So I'm hoping this also will be gone.
Thank you so much, Amruta, for speaking to NDTV.